With everything going on in the world, people need to be uplifted. They need something that promotes character, creativity, confidence, and joy. The GRN show is not just an average talk show. The topics are powerful and will make you think. Join me on this journey to be informed, to relate, to connect, and to evolve. Good evening and welcome to another episode of the GRN show. Tonight's topic is about the hidden power of writing. You know, writing can be pretty powerful, but not everybody understands that. So I really want to take some time because quite often I hear people say, I want to write a book, I have a story to tell, or I cook well, I want to do a cookbook. So I thought with the episode today, we would talk about what are some of the stories that people write. And of course, we have our guest this evening. And quite often it could be about a triumph, it could be about a struggle, it could be about great learning experience or an awakening. And also a lot of people want to share their knowledge. So we have with us this evening two wonderful guests who are first-time authors. And I bring them on because I'm hoping they will inspire you. In fact, I did some research. A New York Times study shows that 81% of Americans want to write a book. But guess what? Only 5% actually do it. So you guys, you really have delved into it. So without further ado, let me introduce to you my guests. I have with me Dr. Flore Lindor, who lives in Miami, Florida. She is an entrepreneur, she's a coach, she is a television and radio host, and then of course, she is a community leader. Welcome, Dr. Flore.
Thank you, Gitel. Congratulations on GRN show. Happy and prosperous 2021. And I'm also pleased to share the platform with another author, Magdalena. Welcome and congratulations on your publication. Thank you for having me, Gitel.
Great, a pleasure. And my other guest is Magdalena Sylvain, who is also a first-time writer and a very thought-provoking story that she is going to share with you. Magdalena actually lives in Orlando. She is a nurse by trade, but actually currently operating a growing business, really training healthcare professionals. In addition, she is a speaker, she is a coach, and she also mentors other women. So Magdalena, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much, Itel. I am so excited and excited about your GRN show. Congratulations. I'm so happy for you. And again, also, I'm happy to be sharing this platform with Dr. Flore. I can't wait to hear what you have to say, and I look forward to this show. Thank you.
You are so welcome. And I have to say that I really want to congratulate you. I want to first by congratulating you because to be an author, it is hard work. It is self-confidence, it is determination, and obviously to get to where you are, I think I'd like to hear a little more about not only the book that you've written, but also about your journey as an author. So Dr. Flore, I'm going to start with you. Tell me, what did you intend to bring with your book, Gadeteto, which is Creole? You'll explain the title of the book, and what are some of the challenges you experienced? And tell us a little bit about Gadeteto.
Thank you, Gitel. First and foremost, I've been a co-author of a very powerful book, which is America's Leading Ladies.
Awesome.
A book that is about the stories of courage, challenge, and triumph of about 50 I call greatness. Among them, Oprah Winfrey, former Justice, she left us,
Ginsburg?
Justice Barber, and also Claudia Harvey. Then I felt privileged to share the platform with this greatness. Then America Leading Ladies came out in 2019. And I said to myself, then I've been writing my own story as well. And so these wonderful ladies that are around the world. Then I used discipline and I gave myself a deadline because I've been writing Gade Tattoo, which is an applied behavior, for 13 years. And I said, okay, 2020, it's my deadline. It has to be published. Then that makes it my two babies, one where I'm a co-author, which is America Leading Ladies, and one that I push myself, that I create myself, gave birth to, which is Gade Tattoo.
Awesome, awesome. So tell the audience what Gaditet means and why you chose that.
Gade Tattoo, it's a slogan, it's a brand, it's watch out. It's a philosophy of inspiration, motivation, conscience awareness, and fun. It's not a fiction. It's an essay, I could say, not an essay. It's an autobiography. It's my memoir. It's exactly an exercise that starts with your empathy, and it's required until you die, because everyone needs to watch out. Everyone at one point in life needs to pause before process. And after you process any moment of your life, that's how you proceed. Then Gate Tattoo is for everyone. I can say teacher, lawyer, priest, couple, divorce, single, married. You can open the book, pick the chapter where you fit best for you.
Got it. Great. So really, it's really an introspective look at oneself.
Yes.
And you, Magdalena, I have to tell you, when I picked up the book that says How I Lied My Way to the Altar, and Now I Am Happily Married. Now that's a title I'd like to also hear about.
Thank you. All right. Yes. How I Lied My Way to the Altar. It was my very first book that I published. I was writing that book since I was 30. I am now 44. And I published the book in 2018. How I Lied My Way to the Altar. The name, I kept praying, like, okay, God, what do you want me to call this book? And I would tell people, I'm publishing a book, I'm publishing a book. And finally, one day, a person asked me, well, what's the name of your book? I realized that, oh, wait, I lied my way. And that's what I'm going to call it. And when I say lied actually stands for, it's an acronym for, I relieved myself from limiting ideas that emancipated my spirit to set me free. So I changed my mindset from an old set of thinking, lies, limited ideas that entrapped me and they were keeping me in bondage. And I changed them to a new set of ideas. I call them the new lies, limited ideas, that emancipate my spirit. And that's how I got to my altar with my husband. The altar represents anything, any goal that you want to acquire in life, becoming a nurse, building a business, buying a home, just finding love in the sense of family, getting healthy, losing weight. So altar represents any goal. And whenever you're trying to get to a goal, we always find struggle. It's never that easy, especially if it's something you really, really want. So I decided to share that my story of the challenges and the journey I went through looking for love. And that's how I share the knowledge and how to entice women to change the way you're thinking. It's not necessarily what's going on around you, but rather what's going on inside you. And it's when I started to do that, I started to see the changes in my life. And God put it in my heart to write this book, again, sharing my journey. The reason why I always wanted to do it was I was tired of meeting, forgive me for saying this, dirtbags. In my mind, I thought they were dirtbags, no good men, right? I'm Haitian too. You know, mercy or no good, right? So, and I was just sick of it and I didn't know what to do. I was so discouraged. And I said, no, I'm going to find me a husband. And when I find him, I'm going to share my story. And that's exactly what I did.
Awesome. You know, it's interesting. I really see the parallel between the two books. Now that I'm hearing from you, it's all about when you want change, it really starts from inside. And it's also interesting, you know, people think, okay, I'm going to take a year, I'm going to write my book, but Dr. Flore, it took you 13 years. And Magdalena, it took you 14 years. So it's the kind of thing you have to persevere. So Dr. Flore, tell me a little bit about what were the challenges and how did you overcome those challenges in the 13 years that the book was in the making?
Um, 13 years, Gitel. Then that's a life story on its own. Then the challenge for me it's writing itself. I am a great speaker. However, I don't feel that I write as well as I speak. Then for me to really develop a philosophy, a lasting philosophy where you are inspiring people, the inspiration is one step in life, but you cannot motivate someone. Then I can start writing and I say, okay, I'm writing Gariteto. I'm telling people to be cautious. Then at the same time, I'm looking at myself. Then I have to really know that whatever I write, not being a fiction and not having any experience in writing, even though I'm a professor, then to know that to be true to myself, that whatever I'm saying, that the if I'm making references to be of people, that they will come and that they can be uplifting instead of destroying.
Got
Then
it.
writing about marriage, my own marriage, that chapter was very challenging. I think I started, I break up, I come back. I didn't know what, whatever that I would say will still be relevant, you know. And you're writing also about financing, you're writing about being an entrepreneur, you're telling people to be successful, but you lose your job as well. Is that failure, not failure? And the book itself has been a challenge, but the beauty of the success book, it's how you overcome the challenge and tell the truth about it. And it's not a fiction and people can relate. And 13 years, I'm telling anybody, then follow your heart, tell your story, because in life, people will always give you a hat, and I love hat, then I better pick up the hat that I feel like wearing instead of people giving me their hats.
Accepting something that people give you. You know, one of the areas of the book I thought was, it kind of touched me a little bit, you know, a young woman who goes abroad by herself and you find this man who really kind of brought you from being an adolescent into a woman. I thought that was pretty powerful. You really went from the very beginning and all the challenges until you actually forgave them. I thought that was amazing. That was one of the parts in the book that I really liked the most because it's all about forgiveness. And you, Nina, you
Yeah.
also talk about forgiveness in your book. Now, I never really did the comparison until tonight we're talking. Your book, Nina, really went into some intimate details and they're heart wrenching, heart wrenching. Tell
They
me,
are.
how did your mom, how did your sisters, because you were very open about it all. What really inspired you to be that authentic and tell it all without
Okay.
sugarcoating it?
Okay. So, like I mentioned before, I was about 28 years old, and typical woman, Cinderella story. I grew up watching Bill Cosby, watching Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, and I'm thinking, oh, when I get older, I'm gonna find this great, amazing husband. And instead of finding an amazing husband, I was faced with date rape. I was faced with molestation from at the age of 5. So before my love life started, I was molested at the age of 5. Then as life progressed, I was date raped a couple of times. I had a few abortions. I was told that I wasn't worthy of being married. I'm not marriage material. And as it turned out, I started to believe these lies. And I thought I was damaged goods. Nobody would love me. So if nobody loves me, I don't love myself, right? What kind of energy am I putting out there? Who's
Mhm.
gonna love me? When I meet a guy, that's the first thing they're picking up. She's damaged goods, because that's now how I started to believe in myself. I went from this hopeful, amazing young girl, so excited about life, and it turned into sorrow, right? So I remember, like I mentioned earlier, being so heart wrenched, and it just became a desire. I have to tell people about this story, and I had to realize, instead of looking at my life as something that was done to me, I decided to look at my trials as something that was done to me, because I'm a missing puzzle piece in someone else's life. Without my story, it will not help someone else heal. And
Got
that was my driving reason. I wanted to share my story and let women know that, yes, you've been through all of this, but that doesn't define who you are. You're still amazing. You're still beautiful. When you
it.
were first born, that's why we were brought into this life, to experience life. And just because you went through some trials doesn't mean life is over, doesn't mean you don't deserve good. That's a lie. So I decided to write that. So you have a question? I'm sorry. It's just so
No,
many,
no,
so
no.
many reasons.
This is quite enlightening for me, because what I am thinking, it appears to me that the book is one of the ways that it empowers you. And
Oh,
that's really what I want our viewers to see, the hidden power of writing. Now, like you say something, I wrote the book, I did not see myself as a victim.
right,
Show yourself as making a difference in other people's lives. We have gone through the same. And I think it's the same for you too, Dr. Flore. The way you write the book, every chapter you end with a little lesson learned.
yeah.
So would you say that most writers, they really want to kind of touch people's lives? In your case,
I
would you say that was one of the intentions?
I think so too. But just to go back, you asked me, how did I overcome the fears of sharing my story? My
Yes.
biggest challenge was the fact that I now became married. Yes, I have my mother, I have my father, and I was concerned about what they thought. But when I finally decided to really write my book, I had to think about my husband. I had to think about my in-laws.
Yeah.
And I was very, very scared. And as I started writing, I did just like Dr. Flora, delete, delete, delete. And every time I do delete, delete, I'm like, who's gonna learn? Be real, be honest, be transparent. If your mission is to help, you have to be transparent. So I had my talk with my husband, and I said, listen, I'm sharing my life. And he was okay with it. And I'm like, but I need you to understand, this is gonna come out. Your parents will hear all these stories, because I share intimate details about all my relationships. And he said, if this is what you feel you need to do, then you have to do it.
Awesome.
So my push was the fact that I had a very supporting husband, and he was okay with it. And yes, it was awesome. And as regards to ending each chapter with a lesson, I wanted them to kind of like get inside my head. I wanted them to realize
Very good.
I made so many mistakes. I want them to see you're not the only ones making these silly mistakes. We've all done it, and I'm able enough to share it. But then, how did I overcome it? So that's why I decided to share the lesson. How I went through the mistake. I went through something so bad, but I was able to change that bad into something good. So learning to redirect your attention to something good.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I love it. And I think in both of your books, you talk about your spirituality. Actually, so tell me a little bit how that spirituality came out and how did it find a spot in the book?
In my case, faith, the chapter of faith is essential because it's my faith is part of my foundation because it helps me being aware on how I treat others. Because when you're writing and when you are inspiring, you need to have a level of authenticity
Yes.
to assume what your words. And that's why in the book I spoke also what I call the theory of the blind, because people do not only see with their eyes open. Someone that is blind see better than we and our physical vision. Then I didn't want Gadite to just to be physical. I wanted it to be an in-depth assessment where your inner power needs to be exhibited and spread out.
Great.
That's how I wanted not to be a legacy after I'm not on earth, but I wanted to leave my legacy.
Awesome.
And I want to tell people to leave their legacy.
Awesome.
And show is a living legacy because some people are waiting and said, okay, when she was there, when he was there, she said that, he said that. No, act. And that's the power of the spirituality in the book. And that's why also I didn't have to go to a ghostwriter because I was not seeking perfection. I was telling stories and real stories, and I was transforming myself because I'm still looking for the best version of Flore that is like Christ-like, but not perfect, but at least every day to be a better me and do less harm while I'm on earth.
Awesome.
And that part of the spirituality I'm still seeking on a daily basis. And I'm still Gadete moi myself.
You're looking
Why I
at
kept the 3 words in Creole, then people only use them, but they know that it's not really a book in Creole, but they know at least I'm of Haitian descent, and it's a gift to the world to really say it while they know they are looking at themselves.
Great. Nina, I picked up the book and actually read some of the chapters you actually had verses from the Bible. Tell me, how did that come up?
So I'm Christian, right? And if it was, I have a chapter called Spiritual Makeover. And I thought that was a very important chapter to cover. So I talk about my history and what was going on that was so bad. And it wasn't until I went through my spiritual makeover. And it's funny because your spirituality changes as you progress in life.
Yeah.
And but my first spiritual makeover, when I became born again Christian, my life transformed. And I found that it wasn't necessarily the finding Christ or becoming born again that changed my life. It was more so the belief that it would change my life, that changed my life. Does that make sense? So the scriptures were my foundation. And as I was writing the chapters, I had so many scriptures in my head. When I was going through a situation, I was like, oh my gosh, this scripture is perfect to put in here because this is the scripture that actually held me down when I was trying to get over a trial. There was the chapter, Mr. Serpent. I couldn't let go of him. I didn't know why. And finally, I'm like, I got to get rid of this guy. He's not working out in my life. And I held on to that scripture, Isaiah 43, forget the things of old, for today I'm going to do something new. So I decided to share those scriptures to help women use those same scriptures when they're trying to get over a situation and progress in life.
Terrific. All right. Well, I'm going to ask both of you the same question. As I mentioned earlier, there are over 200 million of individuals who want to write books. What would you tell those individuals that say, oh my God, I've been wanting to do this for the last 10 years. I'm still not doing it. What is your advice to an aspired writer?
In my case, you want to write, start.
Do it.
Start writing. And do not rush. It's not how long it takes you to publish. It is, what is it that you want to write? Some people, they write poems. Some people write novels. Others write about themselves. There are several writing styles. Then write. But before you publish, ask for help for someone to look at it for you. And if your pocket is heavy, tell your story to someone, find a ghostwriter, get someone to write it for you. But if you like me and Magdalena and you were and Gitel, and you decided that you go slowly taking your little notes and write it like a journal. It took me 13 years to write Gade Tattoo, but my other books that is about to go as well, it took me 12 months.
Okay.
And also good practice make better.
Perfect.
I don't say perfect, but good practice. You have to keep on writing to write. You have to keep on reading others to learn. Then you cannot just write, you have to learn how to read as well to enhance your writing. Awesome. Myself, I know by the time 5 years come, and I told Gitel, I will be so much of a better writer that I will even write a fiction. I will create a character, and I told a friend about that. Then, but for now, what I'm good at is to write an essay, is to tell my story, and I'm gonna be using that. Then anybody watching, grab a pen. I'm looking for a pen here, a paper. Start writing what comes out of your heart.
Great, great. And Magdalena, what advice would you give to an aspired writer?
So first, I want to start by saying that I actually wrote my book, the first half of my book, 14 years ago. So when I said I wanted to write my book, I did. I wrote the first half of my book, and it was about 100 pages. And I said, okay, but since it was about finding a husband and I was still single, I couldn't finish the book. So that's the real reason why it took me so long. I had to find my husband. After I wrote the first half of my book, I actually met my husband a year and a half later. So once I did that, then I finished the other half. So that's how that went. As far as writing the book, I naturally just like writing. I love it. And it's very therapeutic. It helped me get over things in life, get past, help forgive people. When you're writing a story, don't stop. Don't listen. If you have a desire, that's your divine spirituality. That's God telling you something. That's what desire is. Okay. So if God is giving you a desire and it is to write a book, don't wait a minute. You are somebody's missing puzzle piece. There's a reason why God wants you to write that book. Whether you're missing puzzle piece or not, that could be just the beginning of that next chapter in your life. You may not even complete the book, but just you starting to do research and you starting on that journey will open many, many doors for you to get to a next level in life. But don't waste any time.
You started.
You just started. How I like to write, I start from the end. So this is my first book. I just finished, I collaborated with, I did an anthology with a couple of other women. And I'm actually working on my third book, Unleash the Sword Within. But when I start writing, I think of my end first. What is the end result? What is it that I want my audience? First, who is my target audience? You need to know who your target audience is. And whoever your target audience is, you kind of want to put that in your title as well. So then when they go searching for this on Amazon, on Google, that title will pop up. So having a niche, knowing who your target audience is very, very important. I like to start from what is it that is the end result? This book was, my end result was to show them that happy ending. So once I knew what my end result was, I work my way from there. I do
I
my
concur
middle.
with her there. I concur.
Yeah, okay.
And once you do one, you'll be amazed. I heard you said 2 and 3. Look,
Yes,
same thing,
it's
Gitel.
easy.
You know,
Yeah,
you start without fear. You find people asking you to be a guest in their book. I've
yeah.
been co-author also, and also all
The
start.
universe
Yes,
actually gives us what we put out there. It's like Nina purchased her dress 5 years before she got married. So
Right.
the universe works with us as long as we're doing our part. So
And the biggest reason, so I'm sorry, the biggest reason why a lot of people don't start is fear.
mhm.
Fear, the limited ideas entrapped in their subconscious. They're afraid to mess up. So what? Mess up. If you write your first book and it's a flop, at least you did it. Be proud of yourself. So stop trying, like Dr. Flore said, we're trying to be perfectionists. No, love yourself where you are today. I love myself where I am today, and I am so not perfect, but I know where I'm going. Is just I'm excited, and that is the life and the energy that you want to make sure that you put out there. So what? You mess up. We all mess up. So what? And laugh at yourself. It's okay to make a mistake. And I feel that people want us to be perfectionists, and they're so worried about what other people think. No, love yourself, be transparent, accept your flaws, your mistakes. Don't care about what anyone else thinks. And the biggest thing, I'm sorry, this is very, very important. Do not share it with the world, because you already have your own fears. You don't need 1,000 other fears to tell you why not to write the book. So don't tell no one else. You keep it to yourself. You tell your loved ones, the ones that you know are your cheerleaders. But anyone you know that's not a cheerleader, keep your mum's the word.
That's a great, great advice and a great way to end this segment. I am so excited for both of you. And again, congratulations. You are among the 5% who actually have done it. And I've enjoyed both of your books. I've enjoyed them. And I hope we can tell people at the end of the show. Do you want to tell them how to get your books quickly?
you Google Amazon and you put Gade Tattoo and watch out. If you only put Gade Tattoo because it's Creole, it won't comes out. But you put / watch out, and you will get it. Or Books and Books, or you can call me or call Gitel. For anyone who call Gitel, who get the book through Gitel, that's our way also to sponsor her show. Then Gitel can help you get the book as well, because we are a group of women who uplift women doing great things.
Great. And Nina, where do they get yours?
So you can get it on Amazon, and you would go under my name, Magdalena Sylvain. Or you can go to my website, www.iammagdalena.com, and you spell that IAMMAGDALINA.com. And you'll be able to purchase the book as well. And of course, contact Gitel. All right. Thank you so much, Gitel. This was awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ladies. And, you guys are assets in our community. And that's what we celebrate. We celebrate people who are able to overcome challenges and really put themselves out there. So thank you for sharing so much of yourself with us and our viewers. And really, that's information that will last generations from generations. So thank you again, and have a great evening.
Hi, my name is Magdalena Sylvain, and I'm originally from New York, now residing in Orlando, Florida. I'm the author of How I Lied My Way to the Altar, and now I'm happily married. I'm a compassionate, enthusiastic motivator, coach, and speaker, inspiring women of faith who are frustrated and discouraged just as I was, and believe they will never make it to their altar. During my journey to my altar, which is to find my husband, I found myself battling with the web of lies, the limited ideas that were entrapped in my subconscious, that were told to me and the ones that I told myself regarding my God-given destiny and hopes to finding love. In my book, I share my real personal experiences that I endured while I lied my way to my altar.
I have with us Dorothy Richardson. Dorothy, good evening. How are you today?
I'm fine, very well. Thank you, Gitel. Very well. How are you?
I am doing well. I have to tell you, I just had a conversation with two first-time authors. They wrote a novel about their lives, and it was quite an interesting conversation because when you think of writers, you think people just they have like the writing's block, they're not able to start. And it was encouraging to hear it took them over 10 years each to write their book, but the at the end of the day, they did it. So it was quite interesting. So tell us, what do you have for us today?
Well, that's so interesting that was your topic today, because today my topic is writing to your purpose. It's been said that writing is good for your brain. Based on science research and benefits, health benefits, many of us don't realize that we're writing all the time. Whether it's an email, whether it's a text, we're constantly sending texts, or creating documents, putting thoughts on paper, or even putting pretty much typing it up helps us to process, remember, or
Mm.
even have clarity. So, neuroscientists at Harvard University have found through research that writing releases something called dopamine. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that our body creates that sends messages to our nervous system for that communicates how we feel. So basically, that's what it is. For example, listening to music we love, or how we feel, or even feeling accomplished or grateful. These are some examples of how dopamine makes us feel.
Mm.
Well, what does it do? Does writing? What does writing does for us? So pretty much, it makes us healthier and happier. Believe it or not, it makes us also resilient to things and situations. Okay, and also it helps us to communicate clearly, especially if you have a thought in your mind and you want to get it out to communicate. Sometimes putting it down on paper really helps. So here are some great tips if you want to start writing and seeing better clarity, fulfillment, and even understanding, believe it or not, your purpose. So the first tip I'd like to tell you is don't worry about how you write. Just write. Just put it down on paper. Write things down, whether it's a list, daily journaling, or projects that you want to aim at writing about something you feel, uh, and also that you feel you need to record, such as, for example, what you were talking about in your topic today, a book. Uh, Also, the third area is I'd like to tell you breaking big writing goals into small writing goal segments is a nice way to help you through a writing project. Whether it's a few words or a paragraph a day or each other day to help you reach that bigger goal. And you'll see that pretty much writing those things down can even develop into a book. And lastly, don't take things personally or be discouraged by, let's say, for example, criticism, rejection,
Mm.
or even bad days. Just remember, keep writing. So, those are my tips for today as far as writing to your purpose.
So appropriate for our segment. And I myself feel like writing, just like you say, a little bit at a time, whether it's a book or even journaling, it's very good for you. And I like the idea that you put out, start with small goals. Don't look at the larger picture, a little bit every day. So that is great advice. And once again, I really appreciate you. I love your tips. And I want to say, have a great evening, Dorothy.
Have a great evening, Gitel. Till next time. Bye bye.
time. Bye-bye.
Hey guys, I never do this, but I have to tell you about this great channel that I found, Aries Vision Television. It's on Roku. It's a Haitian American channel and I love it. They have such great stuff. Movies, TV shows, children's shows, really anything you can imagine. So, I've really been binging for hours. If you are looking for something great to watch or know anybody else who's looking for something great to watch, let them know about this channel, Aries Vision Television.
We are back from our break, and we've also approached the end of our program. And I am a true believer that everyone has a story to tell. And it does not have to be a book. You know, as Dr. Flore mentioned, it could be a poem, it could be essays. And if there's a story to tell and you want to share it with people, just do it. You know, it may take a couple of years, it may take longer. But the most important thing, there are many, many values in sharing your thoughts, your life story with others. And you know, Maya Angelou is one of the most acclaimed writers, and she used her writing to really overcome many trials and tribulations she's gone throughout her lifetime. And one of her most acclaimed books is "And Still I Rise." And it really shows you that progressively you can really become the writer that you want to be. And one of her quotes I'm going to end and say to you at the end of this show, there is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you. To me, it sounds like it's better to just do it. However you want to use your writing to express yourself and tell your story, my hope is that you will start one page at a time, no matter how long it takes. Once again, I thank you for being with us this evening. I wish you a wonderful Saturday night, and until next week, good night.